Hi, this is my random recipes. I'm Lisa. Welcome to my channel. Today is a rather unusual recipe. In fact, it might be considered a little bit controversial. At least the main ingredient is. Today's recipe is called Aunt Lois's Bisquick Mincemeat Cookies. Mincemeat is not nearly as popular as it used to be. I preferred it in a little condensed box over the jar style. I have tried the jar type, it's just not the same. I checked the company's website recently to check the availability of the condensed type. You know, the little box, it says it's temporarily out of stock, but I haven't seen any on shelves in stores for a very long time. The last time I did, I bought out all they had. I've had my little stash in my freezer for quite some time, and I only use them on rare occasions because once they're gone, that could very well be the last of them. After my stash is used up, it's probably either going to be this jar style, or else I have to start learning how to make it on my own. Consider yourself privileged that I'm willing to share one of my little treasured packages of mincemeat here with you today. If you like these cookies, you may have to make the same decision whether or not I'm going to start using the jar kind or learn how to make my own. I do like mincemeat. I like it in small quantities, though I don't know if I would like it in a pie. There would just be too much. Cookies I like because you just get little bits of it throughout the cookies, and not whole mouthfuls at one time. I have had mincemeat cookies before, not this particular recipe. We'll see how this goes. Let's get to work and make some cookies. I'll turn this down so you can see what I'm doing. I started off by reconstituting my mincemeat. It took about 10 minutes to melt it down, and then I'm letting it cool about another 10 minutes just so that it isn't super hot when it goes into the batter. I'll set this aside for a moment. I'll come back to that in just a bit. I'll kind of read through the instructions so you have an idea what I've just been doing. In a small saucepan, combine mincemeat and milk. Melt down the mincemeat, simmer for about 10 minutes, set aside, allow to cool. So we've done that. Now we're going to preheat the oven at 400, which is doing as we speak. In a large bowl, combine Bisquick, sugar, and salt. So this is 2 cups of Bisquick. We're going to use brown sugar, so it's 1 cup of brown sugar, and a half a teaspoon of salt. I'll just kind of give those a stir. So they're combined. Now it sounds like my oven's preheated now. Okay, so now I'm going to add in my mincemeat. So this is a cup and a half of reconstituted mincemeat. Now we just stir to combine. It smells wonderful. It's got, I can smell cinnamon and cloves. There's apples, there's raisins. They usually have some citrus peel of some kind, usually orange. I think of mincemeat, I think of fall or winter, cold weather. I usually make mincemeat cookies at Christmas time. They've become a rare treat though because I only have a couple boxes of the condensed mincemeat left. I may have to resort to making my own. Now, as far as the fact that it's mincemeat, there's very little meat of any kind in there. So if you're vegetarian, this is probably not for you, but the only thing they have in here is a little bit of beef fat. That's all that is that makes it officially meat. Everything else in here is just fruits and spices. I'm going to have to go with my hands. This is not coming together. It's a very soft dough. It says that it's going to be sticky even when I'm done. So it's going to be, these are going to be drop cookies. I'm going to work on this little bit of flour here. Okay, I got to clean off my hand. I'm going to go wash up and grab my trays and I'll be right back. So, bring my tray in. Yes, it says to grease it, so I used pan spray today. And get a couple small spoons. And we're starting to start dipping. There are very few ingredients in this recipe, but the Bisquick helps out with a lot of the dry ingredients that you would use, like baking powder, baking soda. And the recipe said it's supposed to make about 3.5 dozen. We'll see how far we get. Since my oven really fits one tray at a time properly, I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven. They're supposed to bake for about 10 minutes or until they're set. While those are baking, I'll get started on the second batch. I'll be right back. And we resume. I definitely make my cookies bigger than Aunt Lois did. I'm going to pause this. When the other batch comes out of the oven, these will go in, and then I'll be back when all the cookies are done. Okay, I'm back. The cookies are done. I will turn the camera down so you can see what I have. They're kind of soft and squishy, so I didn't put all of the cookies on one plate. I split them into. This is batch number 1. This is batch number 2. They're, as you can see, they melted down quite a bit. Kind of merged into each other. Very dark. Now, just so you know that there are possible variations to this cookie. It says you can add 1/4 cup of butter. You could also put in nuts or flaked coconut, ground cloves, or ground cinnamon, but I think there's already enough cloves and cinnamon in here. I did nuts last week, so I'm skipping nuts this week. And I think if I put butter in there, it would just totally splat out. Yeah, coconut would be fine. I just went with the traditional recipe the way it was made. So I'm going to take one cookie from each plate or from each batch, and I gave myself a glass of milk today so I can do the milk and cookies thing. So this one on the left is from the batch number 1. Kind of caramelized on the bottom. That's probably the brown sugar. Let's go for a taste. It's kind of crinkly in the bottom. Got kind of a butterscotchy taste to it. Almost caramelized. Let's bring in the milk. Let's find out how it goes with the milk. Let's go. And try a bite from the batch number 2. These look a little tiny bit darker. Just a little bit. I'm definitely tasting the fruit. Tasting the cinnamon. It is definitely kind of a caramely taste to it. Kind of a caramely texture. Crumbly or crispy, kind of crackly. The bottom, the bottom is kind of caramelized. Those are good. And they're chewy. So I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on mincemeat? It can be a very polarizing ingredient. You really like it or you really don't. The first time I knowingly ate mincemeat, I was at a friend's house in junior high. Her mom had made some mincemeat cookies, and I had no idea what they were, but I knew I liked them, and they were really good. So I asked for the recipe. I think that was the beginning of my collecting of recipes from way back in junior high. That recipe will come up later in my collection, so stay tuned. As I say, though, I think once my stash runs out, I may have to learn how to make my own mincemeat. I just really don't like the kind in the jars that usually has a kind of they usually have brandy or their booze in there to make it as a preservative, but it definitely gives it a different taste. Next time I'll be making another one of Aunt Lois's recipes. We'll have to see if her record holds up or not. I will include the ingredients and the preparation for Aunt Lois's Bisquick Mincemeat cookies in the description below. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me in the comments. I really do love hearing from you. It just makes my day. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. It helps my channel to continue to grow. Thank you for joining me on my new adventure as I explore the big wide world of cookies. I'll see you again next time. Bye.